Hello there ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel, and today we're going to go through some of our North American predictions, where they're going to end up lining up at the end of the season in terms of rankings. This was supposed to be a recap video of last weekend, but yeah, can't do that. Also, you're now all facing and looking towards the light behind me and not the spot on my face. 10th place, Susquehanna Sonics. You know what, my record with names is not very good in general. I'm just gonna call them Sonics moving forward. But I'm hoping that I got that right. I mean, what really is there to say about these lads? Obviously Shock coming into the RLCS, but Dapper, we all hope for the best for Dapper, but his record recently in the RLCS has not been very good. Ever since making the World Championship back in Season 3, since then he is 3 wins and 11 losses. One of those wins coming against Cloud9 in prime form. They're actually the reason why Cloud9 have that reputation of just, you know, dropping a game every season to teams that they probably shouldn't do. As for Safu, he was kicked last season after being promoted from Space Station, and then Space Station went on to do incredible work without him, so I think this season is a point of redemption for him. It's up to him as to whether or not it will turn out to be that way. Obviously, my prediction has them sort of being relegated again almost immediately. Oh yeah, by the way, for those of you that aren't aware of that, 10th place is an automatic relegation this season. That is completely new. So for the Sonics, this looks like an uphill battle. I think even me placing them 10th, 8th could be a possibility for them. Anything above that would be just major overperformance. 9th place, Flight. Wow, I really don't like the rival series teams. If you take a look at Flight's opening schedule, it is brutal. Right, let's have a look here. Week 1, Pittsburgh Knights. Week 2, NRG. Week 3, Space Station Gaming. Week 4, we could have an informed Cloud9. We don't really know what's going on with them. You know, so week 4 is probably the first time they're going to get a truly winnable game. And heck, even then, who knows? We could be waiting for week 5. That being said, Memory was a huge get for them this season. He was one of my absolute favorite players on Ghost. Possibly for me, their best player. Maybe that helps keep them up. Seabass has obviously sort of fought these lower end battles quite a few times now and has mixed success with it. So there are chances there, but clearly I don't see it. 8th place, Rogue. I can feel the fury from here. So they're the ones that actually got first killer after a ridiculously confusing transfer saga. There was a moment where he was on Ghost, then there was a moment where he wasn't on Ghost, and then he turned up on Rogue out of nowhere. It was kind of like turning up for your medical at Southampton and just going, nah, I don't fancy being here anymore, and then starting off to Newcastle. But they're the ones that got a hold of him, so we'll see exactly what changes that makes moving forward. But the main thing for me, it's going to be that rotation. We did so much analysis work on them last season, and there were so many times where there was just lapses in concentration. You know, they've barely got the ball at their own side of the field, and suddenly they're wandering off without really making sure somebody was back to clear it, should the ball just, I don't know, be hit back to them. Is first killer the fix to that? Probably not. I don't see it. It's definitely a great ad, but is it the ad that they needed? So yeah, I'm sort of expecting more of the same this season, really. Although I might be making a mistake keeping them at just outside the playoff spots. They tend to grab hold of those. You'll see why later on, but there have been some difficulties trying to rank these guys. 7th place, Ghost Gaming. This one wasn't hard to rank. Ghost Gaming have been constantly 5th to 6th every single season. So, to be honest, I'm shaking it up with them this season. I'm putting them 7th, and that's purely because there's more teams. Ghost are a difficult team to really get excited for, to be honest. They've, like I said, always been 5th to 6th. They don't really seem to change much. We've had personnel change after personnel change, but the atmosphere seems to be the same around them. The culture still seems to be the same around them. This was the team that was supposed to be one of the original challengers to the Big Three, and instead they gave that up to Evil Geniuses, who gave that up to Pittsburgh Knights. This season is massive in terms of changing that perception around them. 6th, E-United. What a season E-United had last time around. Predicted to be 8th by most people, back when we only had 8 teams. And instead they end up going to the World Championship. Now, that being said, they didn't really get to do much there, but still, what an overperformance. There's a reason why I'm so glad to see that they didn't make any changes. Why? Why should you? Clearly, you found something that nobody else understood that you had. I've been following players like Roldis since the Universal Open. I'll tell you what, the improvements that lad has made, outstanding. Truly outstanding. Now, I've got them dropping down a little bit this season, and well, any of you that have been following my Twitter understand that I've had some difficulties with certain teams in all of this, but watch out for this team in the regional championship. I think they can squeeze in again. 5th, Cloud9. What do we do with Cloud9? We've seen them perform once since last season, and they beat NRG in that tournament. Surely they cannot perform as bad as they did last season. They have to be good again. I couldn't even imagine last season happening to start with, let alone it happening twice. And for me, this entire season relies on Gimmick. Squishy had a better season than he had any right to, considering where his team was in the actual rankings. He was still outperforming a number of players. Torment, his sort of playstyle doesn't really bump up a team by much, but he'll perform better depending on what's going on around him. Gimmick was going 50 seconds at a time without touching the ball. His boost management would have made speed bleed out of his ears. This entire season is entirely based on how floppy Gimmick is going to be. If he can get himself in the right positions, he can be so dangerous. But it doesn't matter how much mechanical skill you have, if you're not hitting the ball. If you can get that sorted, Cloud9 can be a force to be reckoned with again. If not, it's going to be a tough season. 4th, Space Station Gaming. I mentioned it last season actually on broadcast that Space Station being a top team was almost difficult to get used to. It's just not a team that anyone really associates with being that high up the leaderboards, but during the World Championship, I think it started to click for me. I even went out of my way to try and make sure I did a video package on them just so I could understand them a little bit more. But Sipical especially, what a season. It'll be impossible for him to play at that level a second season in a row. I don't believe he can do that twice. So it's going to be really up to Arsenal and XP just to level up a little bit more. Not a huge amount. They don't need drastic improvement. Just a tiny amount more. 3rd place. Oh, wow. 3rd place, G2 Esports. A lot of people are acting as if this team is already dead. I'm not convinced just yet. They had great performances in the middle of last year, a 2nd place at the World Championship and a 2nd place at DreamHack Montreal. I refuse to believe that this team just up and died on us. As a matter of fact, there's a bunch of people out there acting like because they had one bad season last season that now they are contractually obligated to get rid of someone like they got rid of Kronovi. Lads, it doesn't work like that. Now, that's not to say that if this season goes badly, you still maintain the roster. Oh, no, if this season goes badly, you move somebody on. You have to at that point. But it is nice just seeing just a little bit of patience being shown. Heck, last season they had moments where they just looked really good. They really took the fight to NRG in game 1 before capitulating. But, you know, it was a good game 1 whilst it lasted. 2nd place, Pittsburgh Knights. It's not a one-hit wonder. It's been proven at this point. These guys are just that good. Now, they did make a move moving AJ into the team and moving Mist onto Ghost Gaming, which was quite the get for Ghost. That means a lot of this now moves on to Gyro. Gyro was already a bit of an anchor for the team. Now he's got to make sure everything's running correctly. But in terms of an offensive unit, this team is... I think they're pretty solidly 2nd at this moment in time. I think they're pretty solidly 2nd at this moment in time. They know roughly where that limit is, and maybe they can start pushing in towards it. Because to absolutely nobody's surprise, I've got 1st place going to NRG. Every season has become less of a question of where will NRG finish, and more of a question of, will they go undefeated? It's only ever usually been during the international stages that NRG has ever struggled. So obviously, yes, I'm expecting the same things here. No roster changes, why should you? The world champions are now finally over that hurdle, and we've seen what happens when they started dominating the North American scene, just how much they started to take over. And now that they're finally over that international hump, they're starting to win international competitions. Will the same thing start happening over there? These aren't chokers anymore, lads. This could be a long, long time of NRG domination. But those are my predictions. If you have anything different, I do want you to put them into the comment section down below. If you want to catch us for our watch-along streams, we'll be live every single day, an hour before the broadcast starts over at twitch.tv/CallumTheShogun. Make sure to hit like and subscribe, and as always, I'll see you next time.